Hey, welcome back to the Disney Plus Everyday Challenge, and today we have the Apple Dumpling Gang rides again. This is the 1979 sequel to the original Apple Dumpling Gang movie from 1975. This is an hour and 29 minutes long, and it stars Don Knotts and Tim Conway as the eponymous Apple Dumpling Gang, even though it's kind of a name I think they borrowed from the first one, which was really about them crossing paths with a bunch of orphans who were also trying to, I don't know, it's been a while since I watched it, but it's a generally highly lauded film from the 70s that families could enjoy. Old West type of story that wasn't made so much anymore at that point. But yeah, it's Don Knotts. It's the googly-eyed, silly, crazy, just Don Knotts, and Tim Conway, who had been just part of variety TV for God knows how long. By the way, Ruth Buzzy makes a small appearance in this, a contemporary of his, and in various shows. Lucille Ball. No, not Lucille. Oh my God, why my brain cannot process. Aren't they both redheads? Anyway, it doesn't matter. It's not Lucille Ball. But yeah, Tim Conway is one of the two doofuses in this. These are hapless, kind of wannabe outlaws who also are trying their best to go straight and not be in trouble anymore, but they are chaos incarnate wherever they go. They don't mean to get into trouble. They don't mean to cause anybody any harm, but guess what? They just unluck themselves into so many situations that just escalate out of control. I don't want to spoil too much for those of you who haven't seen it, but if you have a taste for comedy, you have a taste for some westerns, and you haven't seen this yet, well, yeah, this is made for you. And now it's not just about these guys. I was surprised that there's an overarching storyline that they sort of insert themselves into. It seems like it has nothing to do, for the most part, with what they're doing. They're just riding a donkey into town with whatever they happen to have in their pockets from their last adventure, and they're just trying to change their ways. Well, they get in the way of a bank robbery. They get in the way of Wild Bill Hickok, a real person from history, who is a bit of a character himself. He was not only was a gunslinger and a showman and everything else, but he was also an actor, and he was kind of known for having wild tales told about him and wild tales about him told by him. So he was kind of a legend in some towns, or he was just a celebrity that, when he showed up. In this, a little kid comes up and asks for his autograph, and women swoon, and men just like, I wish I was like him. Just it's all very, people don't see through the BS, and he kind of floats by on that, even though the Apple Dumpling Gang, spoiler, get the best of him, not through any effort of their own. And it causes him to hunt them down throughout the film, much to his detriment. Yeah. In order to see just how fully these guys can ruin a man's life, well, this is that film. But in a fun way. And this is 100% a comedy, 100% fun. Although like I said, there's a lot of action. There's gun shooting and all sorts of. There's also, by the way, there's also the army nearby. Happens to be headed up by Harry Morgan. In this main dramatic subplot that takes place throughout this comedy that I got to a minute ago, Harry Morgan, Colonel Potter from MASH, and I think at the same time he is doing MASH at this time on television, and there's a point where he raises his voice in full Colonel Potter mode. I mean, this is not Dragnet from many, many years ago. He's done a whole lot more than just MASH, but still, when he raises his voice angrily at people around him under his command, all I just see is Colonel Potter. and it's fantastic. It's absolutely fantastic. So yeah, he was also in the last film. I'm trying to figure out whether he recognizes the Apple Dumpling Gang or not when they cross paths. He's playing the same character, I'm pretty sure. I don't know. I only realized that later. But anyway, their names are Amos, is Tim Conway, and Theodore is Don. So Amos and Theodore stumble through, it's almost like three technically separate adventures, but they flow together. You can just barely tell the breaks between them, dealing with bank robbers and Wild Bill, and also then dealing with the army, being enlisted in the army against their will, and also being dealing with everybody all in the final act, including a guy named, what's his name? Oh, come on, Big Mac, played by Jack Elam. I know him best as the really whacked out doctor in the Cannonball Run, but he's known for just playing just surly, bearded monsters, men. But I mean, by the way, speaking of other actors, going back to Wild Bill Hickok, Wild Bill Hickok is played by Kenneth Mars, and you Disney fans will recognize him as the voice of Triton in The Little Mermaid. Yeah, so that's kind of a big thing for fans. But there's so many other actors in this as well. Tim Matheson is one of the main characters that aren't the Apple Dumpling Gang. At some point, they wander away from the Apple Dumpling Gang, from Amos and Theodore, and they focus on this guy. I'm just like, why? What's going on with him? And so he must be important, but it doesn't seem to connect for a while. Maybe I just wasn't paying attention, but there's at least, by the way, he and this young woman named Alyssa Davalos, who plays Millie, they provide the sex appeal in this. Now, don't worry, parents, there's nothing like overtly like sexual or anything else in this. No, not at all. But the two of them, some good-looking people. At least twice they end up with Tim Matheson shirtless and sweaty, just for the ladies. And anybody else who likes Tim Matheson shirtless and sweaty. And then Millie, who's just this military brat, all done up in her perfect dress and corset and she's just gorgeous. So yeah, the two of them, they get on each other's nerves, they bicker and everything else. Just feels right from the start that those two kids might get together, maybe. But she's betrothed to somebody else back at the military base who works underneath Colonel Potter. Now, his name's not Colonel Potter, but that's what I'm going to call him. That's who Harry Morgan does not play. So they all interconnect. The whole story interconnects, and you get it gets a little bit richer, a little bit wilder as these guys bumble their way through this. And to me, I've really enjoyed this. I didn't expect this to do anything for me other than just, oh yeah, it's the Apple Dumpling Gang. It's a thing that everybody loves when they were a kid in the 70s. I don't think I ever watched it when I was a kid. And if I did, I just don't remember it. So I'm going to recommend this. Of course, it all works out in the end for our heroes, whether they realize it or not, whether they do anything or not to get themselves out of trouble. And just bad things happen to them, and those good things happen to them as well to get them out of every single problem. It is through almost no effort of their own, because they are such doofuses, through no effort of their own, even though they mean well. It doesn't always work out for them the way they think. And that leads to comedy that we can enjoy. So that's what the Apple Dumpling Gang Rides Again is all about. And why not? I'd say this is an unqualified classic. I'd say definitely give it a chance. If you haven't seen it in a long time, it stands up. And by the way, for a movie at this level, I don't know if this was this in theaters at one point? Or was it I don't think it was a TV movie or anything. But their antics escalate to a degree that literally blows up a massive amount of buildings. There is a big explosion, practical effect. It's 1979. Yeah, sure. They were still building AT-ATs and Cloud City and everything else for Empire Strikes Back at that point. And they blew up the Death Star 2 years before, but special effects, especially for a Western, for Disney, was not pulling out the big effects. But this, what seems like it'd be a small little comedy, literally blows the roof off the dump. And there's a humongous, really well shot explosion with I believe the characters in the foreground at the time of shooting. Usually these kind of things they'll shoot the explosions and effects shots separate from the acting, but if I remember correctly, it's all done around pretty much the same time in the same shot, I think. I could be thinking of it wrong, but still, pretty fantastic explosion at some point. These guys are trouble, and it's too bad. I don't know if there's a third one. I doubt it, but I would think it'd be on Disney Plus if it was. If not, we got something coming for us later, I guess. I don't know. But if they ever tried to remake this, I don't know what you could do to match these guys. There's Disney's gonna try to remake this in some way. If they can sell a comedy Western, if that becomes a profitable idea, I can't imagine who would take their spots. Can you think of anybody? Tell me in the comments if you can think of anybody. Until then, let's pick tomorrow's episode.
460.
No, we don't have to scroll far. 460, we're still in the thes. Come on. I don't have to scroll at all. Oh, wow. This is one of the last... I thought for sure we were done with this character and all their episodes now in the public domain. We're going to be watching a series. We haven't had a series in a while, like a proper series in a while. Probably just going to watch one episode, but we'll see how that goes. This is The Book of Pooh. Get your mind out of the gutter. This is The Book of Pooh. That's what we're watching next on the Disney Plus Everyday Challenge. I'll see you back here tomorrow with that.